Welcome to the first of our Behavior Bytes Summer series dedicated to families, educators, community members, and students preparing for the return to school in the fall of 2020. No one at the time of this recording knows what the fall openings will look like, but we have invited folks with various backgrounds and experiences to share best practices and resources that we can utilize during the COVID-19 pandemic to help prepare. Today's episode, we invited Meg Duffy. Mrs. Duffy is a building principal from the Scranton School District. This recorded interview, led by PaTTAN EAST consultant Mrs. Donna Halpin, highlights ways to keep families informed, supports for faculty, ways to engage community partners, and suggestions for families as they prepare for the upcoming school year. Mrs. Duffy defines what a trauma-sensitive school looks like at Sumner Elementary. I hope you enjoy.
Good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to the Behavior Bytes Summer Series. This is July 7th. Today we're going to be sharing the reentry plan that focuses on staff, family, and community. Pattons Mission of the mission of the Pennsylvania Training and Technical Assistance Network is to support the efforts and the initiatives of the Bureau of Special Ed and to build capacity of our local agencies to serve students who receive special ed services. Our goal for each child is to ensure that the educational program teams begin with general education setting and the use of supplementary aids and services before considering a more restrictive environment. Today's Behavior Byte is leadership planning for school reentry for staff, family, and community. I'm Donna Halpin from the PaTTAN EAST office, and I have Megan Duffy joining me from the Scranton Area School District. Welcome, Megan. I'd like to introduce everyone to Megan Duffy as my guest today. She's an elementary principal at the Scranton Area School District, and she's going to be sharing some things that she's put in place for her school reentry. I know this has been in the forefront for all of us as we plan for the 2020-21 school year. Thank you, Megan.
Good morning, everyone.
First, can you share a little bit about your school with our audience?
Sure. So as Donna mentioned, I'm the principal of Charles Sumner Elementary School in the Scranton School District. My school population is about 300 students, but it is 78% economically disadvantaged. We have an 18% special ed population. We service 4-year-old preschool all the way up to 5th grade. We have a huge transient and homeless population. And this year we did a study, we have 29% of our students with incarcerated parents.
Wow.
We are a diverse little school in a big school district.
Yes, it's quite a community school as well, you know, with children being able to walk to school as well as get there. So I've been working with Megan over the past year, and I've been thrilled to hear about all the different trauma-sensitive things that they have been doing in their school. So we hear a lot about trauma-sensitive schools. Can you tell us why trauma-sensitive is important regarding the COVID-19 crisis?
I think being trauma sensitive now is more important than ever. We have so many students who we are going to see difficulties with isolation, anxiety, depression, severe separation anxiety. And just from being at home, the lack of routines and predictability, I think that's going to provide a lot of mental and emotional distress when students return to school. And we're going to see an increase in behavior problems as well.
Yeah. So what are some of the things you're doing at your school in regards to trauma-sensitive practices?
Our district is actually taking initiative. I was fortunate enough to be able to create a trauma support plan for reentry that you mentioned before. I'm also on our Lackawanna County task force for reentry, so I was able to be a part of, you know, the guidelines that we're looking at across the country, both physical and health guidelines as well. I think some of the things that we really need to look at, obviously, are the transportation issues, childcare for families with the possible scheduling concerns that are going to be arised. Some of the things that we've been doing is providing support to our families throughout the summer, whether it be via social media. We've had a few events at the school to try and engage our parents. We just did a free family food bank last week. And we've been posting different initiatives and putting one calls out as well.
So as part of your reentry planning for this year, you talked about some of the challenges that you anticipate with kids having some school anxiety and separation. How do you anticipate this, dealing with some of these things in your school? And what kind of things do you have in place?
Some of the things that we've been doing are, we've done a book talk over the past few months. Steve Pfeiffer is a friend of mine, so we did the neuropsychology of stress and trauma. So I wanted to be a proactive educator and engage my staff. So we started with just a basic book talk. That book talk with 20 people led into 80 participants from multiple school districts and even local universities joining us, just trying to prepare my staff with all the schools, and we call it the toolbox that they'll need to meet the needs of their students upon returning. We've also engaged a lot of our local community organizations. I meet weekly with my SBBH core team. I speak daily to our school psychologist, working with different mental health agencies. So we're really trying to make sure that we are being proactive, as I said, and having everything streamlined for reentry.
So what kind of things have you done for families to get them ready for that re-engagement to school?
We've already started talking about what that would look like for parents. What would be their role upon reentry to school? What can they do to support their child? So we talked about them being supportive, obviously, of the district's plan upon reentry. We just did a whole study at our school on self-care, and not only for educators, but also for our parents as well, because if our parents are not okay, their children are not going to be okay. So, not showing their distress about the concerns about reentry. We also try and encourage that positive vibe and, make sure that they're helping to build the momentum at home. So practicing bedtimes and talking about seeing their teacher and their friends again, all the positive aspects that schools have to offer. I think it's really important for our kids to be part of the reentry plan. Because it's going to look very different, as we all know, when we return to school. So, talking to your kids about transportation and busing, about wearing a mask, the different health concerns that'll be in place to best protect them.
I know as a trauma-sensitive school, you have some things that you do to start your day. Can you share a little bit about that? I think that's been a real support for your students.
Sure. As we start our day at Charles Sumner, we start with a morning meditation. And it has truly, as you said, become my favorite part of the day. So our students have a 20-minute window that they can arrive to school. And within that 20 minutes each day, we start with the morning meditation. So the reason why we did that, I always look each year as I analyze our data and look for hotspots within our school. I look for areas of concern. So one of the largest areas of concern for me was our entry into the building. A lot of our kids were coming in with anxiety. We saw a huge increase of students with separation anxiety that we were literally carrying into the building each day. So I just tried to think outside the box, what way can we bring these students in a calm manner? So after becoming yoga certified myself, I started practicing meditation daily and incorporated it into the school building, and it has changed our dynamics tremendously. Now our students come in and they get into a little yoga seat. We practice some movements in the morning, some breathing techniques, and now as they enter their classroom, in the morning I found the teachers were, coming at their arrival time. Now they're actually coming to school a little bit earlier and practicing self-care and meditation in the morning as well. And it has changed. My discipline referrals have dropped this year 40%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
that's incredible. You know, I also know that you do this as a community, you know, in the hall before they're entering their classroom, so that they are with other students and just joining in, you know, as part of that morning meditation. It's a great way to start your day. You've also included some other things in your classrooms to support your calm corners. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yep, we actually looked at our classrooms. So we were providing support, as I said, before they were getting in the classroom. But then when I was looking at my discipline data, I had quite a few students that we were seeing daily. And I thought, okay, I need to empower my staff. What can they do in the classroom to help support their students? You know, when students are sent to the office, obviously they're missing instruction, and that's not the goal for anyone. So we call them peace corners. Originally they were called calm down corners, but I thought it kind of had a little negative, like they needed to calm down. And it's not necessarily about that. So now they're called peace corners within our classroom. So each classroom has a peace corner where students can go and self-regulate. So say they become overwhelmed or just need a break. We're really trying to incorporate some practice what we preach. So those breathing techniques, or, you know, some movements, or just taking time for themselves to self-care. I think it's just as important for our kids. And I think the earlier that we introduce this to our students, the more important it is. So they can take like a 5-minute timeout and go to the peace corner. Most of our kids, as you know, are visual and auditory learners. So that way they're still not missing the instruction. They're hearing it, they're seeing it, but yet they're giving themselves that chance to calm down and take a break.
Yeah, that's really, really a plus for a school setting, especially with some of the demographics that you shared in the beginning of our talk.
Absolutely. And these skills obviously carry over into their home. And that's the goal as well, that, you know, when they need a break at home, that they're practicing this. And for my staff as well.
Yeah. You shared about contacting your parents and families about that, getting kids ready for school. Is there a way that you're communicating with them prior to this, or is there phone calls or blasts, or how are you communicaing with them?
I communicate almost daily via social media with my parents. I post every single day on our social media sites. Like I said, I feel as a public servant, it's our job to provide opportunities for our families. So I'm really engaged with different community organizations who come in. We just had Parker Hill come in last week, as I said, to do the free family food bank for our families. So I didn't want to lose that connection over the summer or over the pandemic with our families, because I feel they need support now more than ever, as do all of us. So like I said, the social media has been huge for us, offering opportunities. We did yoga sessions online for our parents, different surveys or different tasks that we've, asked them to participate online, and just, making sure that we're providing community resources for them to tap into while we're on leave.
Yeah. So how are you using those community resources or outside agencies to support your school?
Well, we use a lot of community organizations. A lot of our organizations that are tied into our school provide after school components for our families. So what I mean by that is our students are offered yoga after school through a local yoga company. We also have a wellness initiative through a local studio. Quest Studio comes in once a month and does a wellness parent engagement evening for our families to teach them about proper self-care and wellness, whether, it's in regards to sleep or hydration or whatever it may be, each topic. And what I love about that most is that our staff and our parents are engaged on those evenings. And obviously it's not mandatory, but I see just as many staff as I do parents, so that's been great. Any of our book talks that I've talked to you about, like we just did the one with Pfeiffer, and we're starting one actually this week as well, I post on our school website so parents can engage in what we're learning about at school. So we build that bridge from school to.
Exciting. And I know even your building, you've made some real efforts to make it a parent-friendly, welcoming area, even with our, our security that we have at the front of our building. You also have a parent engagement area.
I do. I looked at our foyer. I'm an artist at trade. My background's art education and interior design. So I always look at spaces as an opportunity. So I felt our front foyer, we were missing that opportunity. It was cold, it was not welcoming. And as a parent myself, first impressions mean everything when you walk into a building. So we transformed our front foyer to make it a parent center. A lot of our parents in the morning when they're dropping off their kids were, staying out on the street level or out on the sidewalk. And we really wanted them to feel welcome and part of our school. So as I said, we changed the front foyer. We actually have a free parent library in our foyer now. We have a free children's library. So that way they can, access it all throughout the summer or whenever our building is open to come in and borrow books. We also put a table out there with a few chairs. So now we have a couple moms coming in with their coffees in the morning and just having a conversation out there and grabbing books. I also have in our family foyer a bunch of different parent opportunities. So whether I work with one of our community organizations, again, outreach, and every week they come and they post local employment opportunities for our families.
Oh, that's a great resource.
Yeah, it's a great resource.
And a good place for them to know to look once they're been made aware that that's available as well. That's terrific.
Thanks. So, as I said, really important for our parents to see us as approachable. And I know you and I have had that conversation before. You'll never see me sitting behind my desk in my office. I'm always at the table with parents. Even our attire at school is very comfortable and welcoming. I want our parents to see us as a resource.
Yeah. I'm seeing great things happening in your school and happening for the community. So, in a summary, your plan for this reentry is to inform those parents, provide some self-care for the parents as well, and, include them in the welcoming and including your students in that, plan for reentry. I know we have lots and lots of lessons to teach our students, just being safe and being healthy. And, I know we've always taught washing hands and all of those things, so we'll be probably focusing a lot more, especially at that elementary level, with your children.
Sure. For sure.
Yeah. So you're going to continue the morning meditation with the reentry plan that you have in place as best you can with however it looks.
I am, whether it's online or not. I may be leading that morning meditation, but that's okay. We'll be sure to include that because it's made a huge difference. And the yoga also, we're one of the few schools I think that I know of that we have a yoga room. So our students practice yoga weekly as well. And you just reminded me of something. I'm currently working on a trauma website for our school district. So that's going to be important, where parents, staff, and students can access different mental health resources within the community or wellness activities within the community, at the privacy of their own home.
Oh, that's a terrific resource. I'm excited to see that, see that section. And I'm hoping that we can post some of that reentry plan and some of the resources that you've shared, on our website as we post this Behavior Byte.
Absolutely, I'm glad to share.
Yeah. So you've shared so much about that self-care of staff and preparing staff for the trauma that your students have, regardless of whether or not we're in this COVID session. That trauma just, I think, amplifies some of the COVID quarantine has amplified some of those things for our families. So I really want to thank you. You've shared so much in building community with your staff and providing a very welcoming family environment. Is there anything else you want to, as a closing thought with this?
No, I don't think so. I just think it's important that our parents, you know, engage with the school community and reach out to the school community if they're ever in need of services. A lot of our local organizations have so much to offer, and I feel, you know, providing that information right to the parents is the best way to attack that. A lot of our parents are not aware of the resources that are available to them. So like I said, we are the liaison to that. So please make sure that you continue to reach out to us.
Well, that's a great tip there, because we have a lot of community resources in all of our communities across Pennsylvania.
Sure.
So knowing what's out there and what's available to support parents is really important. So Meg, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time you spent to talk to us about your plan, and we're looking forward to re-entering school as a state, as well as you know, I want to wish you the best with you and your staff and students and families.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks for having me today.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you to Meg Duffy from the Scranton Area School District for helping us out with today's Behavior Bite. And remember, this is just a bite of behavior. See you next time.